So you've been on this deep dive into Ontario healthcare,
Right.
really focused on finding a family doctor.
Yeah.
Like, how do you actually get one?
A lot of people are asking that.
Exactly. And you know what? There's some big news that just dropped.
Oh, really?
That could actually change the game.
Okay, tell me more.
We're talking about Ontario's plan to, like, totally revamp medical schools.
Wow.
Like, big changes. And one of the biggest is they're saying goodbye to international students starting in 2026.
That's a big move for sure.
It's bold.
Yeah.
They're trying to tackle that doctor shortage head on,
Yeah, that's the big question everyone's asking.
which you've been researching.
I have been reading all about it.
So tell us a little more about this.
Well, Premier Doug Ford, he's really pushing this Ontario Students First thing,
Yes.
for those publicly funded med school spots.
Makes sense.
And there's also this idea floating around that maybe these international students aren't sticking around Ontario to practice after they graduate.
Interesting. So they're taking the spots, and then they're leaving.
That's the concern.
And then Ontario's left with even fewer doctors,
Exactly.
right? And I know Health Minister Sylvia Jones is also backing this up.
Mm-hmm.
She's all about putting Ontario taxpayers first
Right.
and making sure that the money's actually benefiting the people who live here.
Which makes sense.
But hold on a sec, because this is where it gets kind of crazy.
Heck, what's that?
18%
Wow.
of Ontario's medical students right now are international students.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. This new plan wants to bump that down to, like, nothing.
Really?
At least 95% of those spots have to go to Ontario residents. And then there's just a tiny bit left over for other Canadians.
Huge shift.
Massive shift, right?
Yeah.
So the big question is, will this actually help?
That's the million-dollar question.
You and the 2.5 million Ontarians who don't even have a family doctor.
Right.
The Ontario College of Family Physicians, that's the number they're putting out there.
Yeah. And even if we look at the Canadian Institute for Health Information, their estimate is a bit lower, like 12%, but
Still a ton of people.
it's still huge.
So what's the government thinking?
They're hoping that if more doctors are trained here in Ontario,
Yeah.
they're more likely to stay here and practice.
That makes sense on the surface.
Right.
But you've been researching this?
I have.
I mean, does just having more Ontario grads actually guarantee that they'll stay and set up their practice here?
It's not that simple.
What else is going on?
Yeah. What else is stopping people from becoming family doctors in the first place?
Right, like what are the factors?
There are so many things to think about. Like becoming a family doctor, it's a massive commitment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You have to go through residency. You're competing for those spots.
Oh.
Then there's work-life balance.
Yeah, everyone wants that.
And a lot of people are drawn to specializing instead.
Oh, right, because you can make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole issue of where you end up practicing.
Geographically?
Yeah, like if you're trained in Toronto, but you really want to live in a smaller town,
Right.
it's tricky. So this ban on international students, it might help a little bit.
A little nudge.
Yeah, but it's not a magic solution.
Right. It doesn't solve everything.
No. And we also have to think about
Yeah.
if this might actually make Ontario less attractive.
To doctors?
Yeah, for top talent.
Interesting.
Whether they're from Canada or anywhere else.
It's like we're trying to solve this huge puzzle,
A very complex puzzle.
but we're only focusing on one tiny piece.
Exactly.
So what else is Ontario doing to address this doctor shortage?
Right.
Because it's a big problem.
Well, there's this Learn and Stay program,
Right. I've heard of that.
and they're expanding it, which is interesting.
What is that exactly?
It's basically a deal.
Like a bargain?
Yeah, they say, hey, we'll cover your tuition, we'll help with your living expenses,
Wow.
the whole 9 yards, but you got to promise to be a family doctor here in Ontario.
So they're like investing in your future and then you're giving back to the community.
Right, and they're putting some serious money behind this.
How much are we talking?
$88 million
Wow.
to support 1,360 students.
That's a lot of students.
It is, and their goal is to connect 1.36 million Ontarians to primary care.
So essentially they're throwing money at the problem
Kind of.
and hoping it sticks.
Well, they're trying something.
Have we seen this kind of program work before?
It's becoming more popular across Canada,
Interesting.
but it's still too early to tell if it'll have a real long-term impact.
Right.
I mean, it comes down to whether those financial perks are enough
Right.
to outweigh all those other factors we talked about.
Like wanting to live in a certain area.
Exactly. Or concerns about burnout.
Burnout is huge these days.
It is a big problem.
It makes you wonder if being a family doctor in, say, Thunder Bay
Yeah.
is totally different from being one in downtown Toronto.
I mean, the pressures are probably very different,
Right.
different lifestyles, different patient needs.
It's a big province with a lot of different needs.
For sure.
But to Ontario's credit, they're not just relying on this learn and stay thing.
No, they're trying to tackle this problem from all sides.
Like, what else are they doing?
They brought in Jane Philpott.
Who's that?
She's a big deal in healthcare.
Oh.
She was the federal health minister.
Wow.
And she's got this massive task ahead of her
That's
to connect every single Ontarian to primary care within 5 years.
ambitious.
It's a huge goal.
What do you think?
I mean,
What are the chances that you'll have a family doctor by 2029?
that's only a few years away.
I know it's hard to imagine a system where everyone has access that quickly.
It's a moonshot for
Yeah,
sure,
Yeah,
but it shows that they're serious about this.
they're committed.
They are. And another piece of this puzzle is this health teams model they're expanding.
What's that?
So it's about making sure that you have access to a whole team of healthcare professionals,
Right.
not just a doctor.
So like a one-stop shop?
Kind of. You'd have nurses, pharmacists, maybe even mental health specialists all working together.
So it's not just about finding any doctor.
Right.
It's about finding the right care.
Exactly. Getting the specific support you need.
This health teams concept, is that something that's working in other places?
It's gaining traction. It's this idea that healthcare shouldn't be one size fits all.
Makes sense.
Everyone has different needs.
Exactly.
And they're also taking another look at the visa trainee program.
Oh, right, for international students.
Yeah, trying to find that balance between supporting the ones who are already here and prioritizing Ontarians.
So they're trying to cover all their bases.
They're really trying.
And you know what else caught my attention?
What's that?
Ford mentioned helping current med students with their debt.
Oh, yeah.
Could that make a difference?
It could be huge.
Do you think that could sway more people towards family practice?
It's possible. I mean, think about it. You graduate with all this debt.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Easily and suddenly specializing seems more appealing.
Because you can make more money.
Right. You need to pay off those loans. But if you ease that burden a bit,
Yeah.
family practice might become a more attractive option.
It's like this internal battle.
Totally.
Do I follow my passion or do I pay my bills?
Exactly. Not an easy choice.
So where does all of this leave us? Ontario is trying a lot of things at once.
They are throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right. They're banning international students. They're offering money. They're building these health teams. And they're even trying to tackle student debt.
It's a multi-pronged approach.
So what do you think as an expert?
Well, it's a super complicated situation, and it's way too early to say for sure what's going to happen.
Right.
But what's really interesting is how this connects to your own experience with healthcare. I mean, will these changes actually make it easier for you to find a family doctor in the next few years?
That's the big question.
It is, and it's something to keep an eye on as these initiatives roll out.
We'll have to see how it all plays out. It's a good reminder that this isn't just about headlines and politics.
Right.
It's about real people's lives.
Absolutely.
So what's your gut feeling? Are you more optimistic or less optimistic about finding a family doctor after all of this news?
That's a good question, and I think it's a question worth thinking about.
Yeah.
As you continue your deep dive into Ontario healthcare,
Lots to consider.
definitely.
So keep digging, folks.
And stay informed.
We'll keep you updated as this story develops.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.